Coming up on Mountain News this morning, we take a look at the impact former First Lady Rosalynn Carter left on the Commonwealth. And a recent report suggests Kentucky has fewer kindergartners are ready for school than in previous years.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning, I'm Olivia Calfee. The time is 6 a.m. on November 21st. Now let's check in with Chief Forecaster Brandon Robinson for a look at your forecast this morning. And it's a soggy morning out there, Brandon. When I got in the car and was driving to work, I was like, oh man, the rain, but I know we really needed it, so we'll take it.
Exactly. So take the, I guess, I don't want to say take the bad with the good, but take the needed with the good, yes. I guess is the best way to put that. But yes, so we got some heavier pockets of rain down near southern Kentucky. Let's zoom in on that real fast. We're talking about places like Wayne County, parts of Pulaski County, over into parts of McCreary County. So just watch out for that this morning. Scooting on up toward London and Williamsburg and Corbin, so a lot of rain out in those areas. Jenkins on the other side, not as bad as it has been the last little bit, but again, still some rain out there. Just be careful. Some ponding water could be some issues as you head out the door this morning. 46 in Wise, 48 Moorhead, 48 Ashland. Everybody else is in the 50s this morning. 58 Manchester, so a little bit warm. Going to 59 today, maybe just a touch warmer if you get one of those spots that get just a little bit warmer. But again, I think it's going to be mostly a soggy day for most of us today, and we'll see the rain chances finally start to diminish as we head to later in the day, heading into the nighttime hours. I'll have the rest of that forecast coming up here in just a few minutes. Olivia.
Brandon, thank you. Former First Lady Rosalynn Carter left a rich legacy with Habitat for Humanity. Some of those efforts were right here in the Commonwealth. Jessica Umbro has the story.
She was so active in everything he did, and it's kind of like the hard work and brains behind the power. That was Rosalynn.
When it came to brainstorming how to tackle Kentucky Habitat for Humanity's 1997 project in eastern Kentucky, former First Lady Rosalynn Carter was hands-on.
We just took a white piece of paper and drew the state of Kentucky and the state of Tennessee and put stars where the towns were, you know. But she was right in there, you know, looking at stuff, helping out.
It was a level of involvement that went beyond the planning process.
She was carrying it. She wore a tool belt. She was carrying a hammer. She was out there working, building these houses. They always built a house with President Carter's team of people, you know, his volunteers. But my wife had this idea that we ought to do a First Lady's house.
1, 2, 3, heave!
I think that's one thing that's good about doing this with all women, because it shows that women can do this kind of thing. And if women like to build, I think they should build as a profession.
It was a working relationship with Hannah and his wife that extended into a friendship.
Yeah, I don't know if I should tell that story. This is a picture taken with Rosalynn in front of President Carter's boyhood home.
A friendship that allowed for a closer look at a public figure that millions knew of, but not nearly as many had the opportunity to truly know.
It just very quickly, she warmed up to people, and you could warm up to her. And she's just very, very special in that way.
In Lexington, Jessica Umbro, WKYT.
Former First Lady Rosalynn Carter did visit the Commonwealth for a number of other occasions. Recent reports say hundreds of dogs have caught a new deadly illness nationwide. Lexington veterinarians say they have seen several cases of it since February. Veterinary health experts say the illness is very contagious and starts with a persistent cough. Dogs may also show other symptoms like fatigue and lack of appetite. Experts say dogs are most likely to catch the illness by coming into contact with other dogs.
If you're thinking about your dog being in a population where there might be other dogs, you know, for Christmas, etc., is make sure that you're doing as much as you can with that baseline vaccines.
If your dog is experiencing any other symptoms, you can call your veterinarian. The Kentucky Youth Advocates 2023 report suggests fewer kindergartners are ready to learn. WYMT's RJ Johnson tells us what some school officials are doing about it.
School officials are looking at ways to help kindergarten students that are falling behind.
Our kindergarten readiness numbers in Letcher County are nowhere close to where we want them to be. About 90% of our kindergartners are considered not ready based on the Brigance testing.
Letcher County School Superintendent Denise Yount says students fell behind during COVID.
Because a lot of the programs were shut down during COVID. You know, that you couldn't get together and couldn't work with children, particularly of that age. And then preschool or Head Start may have been virtual, and so they didn't get a lot of the socialization and a lot of the skills that they need to be considered kindergarten ready.
Roy G. Eversole Principal Derek Allen says they are trying to find ways to help those students.
We just try to look at all that data and we try to offer ways for students to catch up, whether that be intervention type programs or whole class instruction, just to make sure that we get everybody on the same playing field.
He says it's important that parents start with their children before they are in school.
Well, parents are a student's first teacher, so what they're exposed to at home or away from school, carries into school. So, some ways that parents can help is, just expose them to reading, expose them to text.
Yount says reading with your child can be very beneficial.
But it's as simple as reading with your child. From the time that your child is born, if you'll read with your child every day and help them develop those language skills, they'll pick up vocabulary and communication and socialization. Just reading to your child will help a great deal.
Saying it's important to read with them before introducing them to technology. RJ Johnson, WYMT Mountain News.
Allen and Yount both say their schools are partnering with several organizations to help students that are falling behind. FEMA is awarding nearly $21 million to Kentucky Emergency Management for communities affected by the July 2022 flooding. The funding grant is worth about $20.8 million, which will be used to clean up debris left behind from the flooding. The debris piled up due to severe storms which caused flooding, landslides, and mudslides.
6:07 here on this Tuesday morning. We're tracking some heavier bands of rain, especially coming into southern Kentucky this morning. They're also up near I-64 and then back into southern West Virginia, but it's just soggy out there this morning as you start your day. Temperatures 40s and 50s out there this morning. A lot of 50s, low to mid 50s out there this morning, and the wind is cranking. Looking at Monticello, 12 miles per hour, 10 miles per hour in Pikeville, 8 miles per hour Jackson, Prestonsburg, and when you factor in the gust, yeah, it's a little higher, 17 there in Pikeville, 21 over toward Charleston, West Virginia. For today, you see it. Basically, rain chances off and on throughout the day. I think the deeper the day we get, the less they'll get, but temperatures only get up into the upper 50s, maybe low 60s as we head deeper into the afternoon. Olivia?
Thank you, Brandon, and thanks for joining Mountain News this morning. More news is on the way. When we return, negotiators are nearing a deal with Hamas to release hostages in exchange for allowing more aid into Gaza.